In our daily lives, we interact with many different kinds of people, some who uplift us and encourage righteousness, and others who influence us in negative ways. The Qur'an, as the ultimate guide for humanity, provides wisdom on the types of individuals we should be cautious of. Islam emphasizes not only personal spiritual growth, but also the importance of surrounding ourselves with people who bring us closer to Allah. Associating with those who engage in harmful behaviors can weaken our faith, lead us away from righteousness, and negatively impact our character. The warning against certain types of people is not meant to foster arrogance or judgment, but to encourage self-awareness and spiritual protection. The people we surround ourselves with influence our thoughts, actions, and ultimately, our destiny. If we are constantly in the company of those who lie, deceive, gossip, or act arrogantly, we may slowly begin to adopt similar traits without even realizing it. Throughout history, the consequences of following misguided individuals are evident. The Quran recounts numerous stories of those who were led astray due to their association with the wrong people. By understanding these warnings, we can guard our hearts and strive for sincerity, humility, and integrity in our relationships. In this discussion, we will explore 5 types of people the Quran warns us about, examining their characteristics, the harm they bring to society, and why Islam encourages us to distance ourselves from them. By recognizing these traits, we can make conscious choices that align with our faith and lead us toward righteousness. Arrogance is one of the most destructive traits warned about in the Quran. It is a characteristic that distances a person from humility and gratitude, leading them to believe they are superior to others. In Islam, arrogance, or kibr, is considered a grave sin because it reflects an inflated sense of self-importance and a refusal to acknowledge one's dependence on Allah. The dangers of arrogance are not limited to the individual alone, but extend to society as a whole, fostering division, resentment, and hostility among people. The most well-known example of arrogance in the Quran is the story of Iblis. When Allah commanded him to bow to Adam, he refused, declaring that he was superior because he was created from fire while Adam was created from clay. This act of pride led to his eternal condemnation, proving that arrogance is not merely a flaw, but a spiritual disease that can lead to complete ruin. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, warned about the consequences of arrogance, stating that anyone who has even an atom's weight of arrogance in their heart will not enter paradise. This profound warning highlights how serious this trait is in the eyes of Allah. Arrogance manifests in various ways. Some people express it by looking down on others, treating them with contempt, or refusing to accept constructive criticism. Others demonstrate it by rejecting the truth even when it is presented clearly to them, simply because they do not want to admit they were wrong. This type of pride can prevent a person from growing spiritually and intellectually. It creates a barrier between them and guidance, as their ego blinds them from recognizing their own shortcomings. This is why Islam stresses the importance of humility, acknowledging that all blessings, intelligence, and success come from Allah alone. Being in the presence of arrogant individuals can have a significant negative impact. Such people often create an environment of competition and jealousy, where others feel the need to constantly prove themselves. They may belittle those around them, dismiss others' achievements, and seek validation through dominance rather than kindness. This kind of atmosphere fosters insecurity and resentment, making it difficult to maintain healthy, sincere relationships. In communities, arrogance leads to divisions, as those who consider themselves superior refuse to engage with those they deem lesser. This disrupts unity and prevents meaningful cooperation among people. One of the most dangerous aspects of arrogance is its subtlety. Many people do not realize when they are being prideful. It can begin with a simple sense of accomplishment, which, if left unchecked, turns into a belief that one is inherently better than others. This is why Islam encourages constant self-reflection. A person must regularly assess their intentions, ensuring that their actions are driven by sincerity, rather than a desire for status or recognition. The Quran repeatedly reminds believers of the fate of those who let arrogance control them. Pharaoh, who declared himself a god, was destroyed because of his pride. The people of Ad and Thamud, who rejected their prophets out of arrogance, met similar ends. These stories serve as reminders that no matter how powerful or knowledgeable a person may be, their downfall is inevitable if they allow arrogance to take root in their heart. To protect oneself from arrogance, Islam teaches the importance of gratitude, humility, and kindness. Recognizing that all successes come from Allah helps a person remain humble, as they understand that nothing they achieve is purely by their own doing. Seeking knowledge with an open heart and being willing to accept criticism fosters personal growth. Treating others with respect, regardless of their status or background, ensures that arrogance does not take hold. In the end, arrogance is a trait that leads to separation from Allah, from truth, and from meaningful relationships. It blinds a person to their flaws, prevents them from seeking guidance, and creates unnecessary divisions within society. The Quran warns believers to be cautious of such individuals, as their influence can be damaging. By striving for humility and acknowledging that all greatness belongs to Allah alone, one can protect their heart from the dangers of arrogance and remain on the path of righteousness. Backbiting and gossip are among the most harmful social behaviors warned about in the Quran. These actions may seem insignificant to those engaging in them, but they have the potential to destroy relationships, erode trust, and create divisions within a community. Speaking ill of others behind their backs is not only a violation of trust, but also an indication of a deeper moral weakness. Islam emphasizes the importance of guarding one's tongue, as words have the power to heal or to harm, to bring people together or to tear them apart. The Quran uses a striking metaphor to illustrate the severity of backbiting, likening it to eating the flesh of one's dead brother. This powerful imagery in Surah Al-Hujurat serves as a reminder of how repulsive and unnatural backbiting should feel to a believer. Just as consuming human flesh is unimaginable, so too should be the act of speaking ill of another in their absence. This comparison highlights the seriousness of the sin and the deep spiritual and social damage it causes. Gossip and backbiting are fueled by various negative emotions, including jealousy, arrogance, and insecurity. When people engage in these behaviors, they often do so to elevate themselves by bringing others down. They spread rumors to appear knowledgeable, share personal information to feel important, or participate in slanderous discussions to fit into a group. However, what may begin as idle talk quickly turns into a destructive force that ruins reputations and causes emotional pain. Islam teaches that true believers focus on their own faults rather than discussing the shortcomings of others. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, stated that whoever believes in Allah and the last day should speak good or remain silent. This profound wisdom urges individuals to think before they speak, ensuring that their words contribute to harmony rather than discord. Being in the company of those who habitually gossip and backbite can be dangerous. Over time, one may become desensitized to these conversations, finding them entertaining or engaging without realizing their harmful effects. The more a person listens to or participates in gossip, the more they risk adopting the same negative habits. This creates a toxic environment where trust is eroded, as people begin to fear that their private matters will be discussed in their absence. In such an atmosphere, relationships become fragile, and sincerity is replaced with suspicion. One of the greatest harms of backbiting is that the person being spoken about is not present to defend themselves. Information is often exaggerated, distorted, or taken out of context, leading to misunderstandings and false accusations. This can result in conflicts that could have been easily avoided had the individuals involved communicated directly and honestly. The Quran repeatedly urges believers to verify information before spreading it, recognizing the immense damage falsehoods can cause. It is a sign of wisdom and integrity to resist the urge to speak about others unnecessarily, and to focus instead on self-improvement. To combat the temptation of gossip and backbiting, Islam encourages self-restraint and mindfulness. When negative conversations arise, a person should either redirect the discussion towards something beneficial or excuse themselves from the situation. Seeking forgiveness for past mistakes and making amends with those who may have been wronged is also an essential step towards spiritual growth. By committing to kindness and choosing words carefully, believers create a culture of respect and sincerity that strengthens relationships rather than breaking them apart. The Qur'an's warning against backbiting is not simply about avoiding sin. It is about protecting the dignity and honor of individuals and fostering a strong, united community. Words hold power, and their impact can last long after they are spoken. A believer who values truth, sincerity, and justice will choose to guard their tongue, ensuring that their speech brings people closer rather than driving them apart. Through conscious effort and self-discipline, one can cultivate a habit of speaking only that which is beneficial, creating an environment where trust and harmony thrive. Hypocrisy is one of the most dangerous spiritual and moral diseases a person can have. It is a hidden poison that slowly corrupts the soul and deceives others into believing in a false image of righteousness. The Qur'an warns extensively about hypocrites, describing them as people who outwardly claim to believe but secretly harbor disbelief, malice, or selfish intentions. Their words and actions do not align, and they manipulate others for personal gain while pretending to uphold faith and integrity. The severity of hypocrisy is so great that the Qur'an dedicates an entire chapter, Surah Al-Munafiqun, to exposing their traits and the consequences of their deceit. One of the most well-known descriptions of hypocrites in the Qur'an is their tendency to say what they do not truly believe. They claim to support the truth, but secretly work against it. They make promises they do not intend to keep, and when they are entrusted with something, they betray that trust. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, identified 3 key signs of a hypocrite. When they speak, they lie. When they make a promise, they break it. And when they are entrusted with something, they prove to be dishonest. These characteristics highlight a deep lack of sincerity and integrity, making hypocrites extremely harmful to individuals and communities. The danger of hypocrisy lies in its deceptive nature. A hypocrite presents themselves as a believer, gaining the trust and respect of others, yet their true intentions are rooted in selfishness and manipulation. They spread falsehoods, cause division, and weaken the bonds of trust within a society. They often side with the righteous when it benefits them, but quickly turn away when they face difficulty or when their true interests are at stake. The Qur'an describes them as those who waver between belief and disbelief, never fully committing to either, and whose hearts are diseased with doubt and insincerity. Being around hypocrites can have a devastating impact on one's faith and moral compass. Their words may sound convincing, and their outward appearance may resemble that of true believers, but their actions reveal their reality. They create an environment of mistrust, where sincerity is overshadowed by deception. In communities, they sow discord by speaking ill of others, creating unnecessary conflicts and encouraging dishonesty. Their presence weakens unity and spreads negativity, making it difficult for people to distinguish between those who are genuine and those who are merely pretending. The Quran makes it clear that the ultimate consequence of hypocrisy is severe. Hypocrites are described as being in the lowest depths of the hellfire, a punishment worse than that of disbelievers. This shows the gravity of their sin, as their deceit not only harms themselves, but also misleads others. Their double-faced nature makes them unreliable, and their constant shifting of loyalties makes them untrustworthy. While they may deceive people in this world, they cannot deceive Allah, who knows what is truly in their hearts. To protect oneself from the influence of hypocrisy, Islam emphasizes sincerity, honesty, and self-awareness. A believer must constantly evaluate their actions and intentions, ensuring that their external behavior aligns with their internal faith. Seeking forgiveness for moments of insincerity and striving to remain truthful in speech and actions is key to preventing hypocrisy from taking root. Surrounding oneself with honest and sincere individuals helps reinforce good character and strengthens faith. Trust and integrity are the foundation of a strong and united community, and only by embodying these values can a believer remain true to their faith. The Qur'an's warnings about hypocrites serve as both a caution and a reminder. They caution against trusting those who pretend to be righteous while secretly working against faith. And they remind believers to examine their own hearts, ensuring that sincerity remains at the core of their actions. True faith requires more than outward displays of devotion. It demands honesty, commitment, and a deep sense of responsibility to Allah and to others. Hypocrisy is a spiritual illness, but through self-reflection, humility, and steadfastness, one can guard against it and remain firm upon the path of righteousness. Mischief makers are among the most dangerous influences in any society. The Qur'an repeatedly warns against those who cause corruption and spread disorder, describing their actions as destructive and harmful to both individuals and communities. These are people who take pleasure in creating chaos, inciting conflict, and disrupting peace for personal gain. Their influence is toxic, as they thrive on division, deception, and exploitation. Their words and actions do not bring benefit, but instead fuel hatred, suspicion, and injustice. The Quran makes it clear that causing corruption on the earth is a serious sin. It warns believers not to follow in the footsteps of those who spread falsehoods, manipulate situations for their own advantage, and engage in behaviors that weaken the moral and ethical fabric of society. These individuals may appear outwardly well-intentioned, but their true goal is to create instability. They spread rumors, distort the truth, and encourage hostility between people, making it difficult to distinguish right from wrong. They benefit from discord, as a divided society allows them to exercise control and influence without accountability. One of the most harmful aspects of mischief-making is its ability to turn people against one another. These individuals use deception and manipulation to fuel conflicts, whether in families, friendships, workplaces, or entire communities. They exploit emotions, provoke anger, and encourage others to act impulsively, often leading to broken relationships and long-lasting grudges. Their ability to twist reality makes them particularly dangerous, as they can make the innocent appear guilty and the guilty appear innocent. This form of corruption can spread rapidly, destroying trust and unity. Mischief makers are not only those who incite direct conflict, but also those who promote dishonesty, injustice, and oppression. They may engage in fraudulent business practices, deceive others for financial gain, or manipulate social structures for personal benefit. Corruption in leadership, deceit in financial dealings, and abuse of power all fall under the category of mischief-making. These actions harm the weak and vulnerable, creating an environment where dishonesty is rewarded and integrity is punished. The Quran commands believers to uphold justice and truth, standing against those who seek to exploit others. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, emphasized the importance of honesty and sincerity in all aspects of life. He warned against spreading false information and engaging in deceitful behavior, as these actions have lasting consequences. A single lie can destroy reputations. A false accusation can ruin lives, and an act of dishonesty can lead to widespread distrust. When mischief makers are allowed to operate freely, society suffers as a whole, with the bonds of trust that hold people together gradually eroding. Being in the presence of mischief makers can be spiritually and emotionally damaging. Their negative influence can make people more inclined towards suspicion, anger, and dishonesty. The more time spent around such individuals, the easier it becomes to adopt their behaviors, even unconsciously. Islam teaches that believers should surround themselves with those who promote goodness and sincerity, rather than those who thrive on negativity and manipulation. Avoiding harmful company and seeking the companionship of the righteous is essential in maintaining a strong moral foundation. The Qur'an provides clear guidance on how to counteract mischief and corruption. It calls for patience, wisdom, and a commitment to justice. Speaking out against wrongdoing, refusing to participate in deceit, and standing firmly for truth are necessary steps in protecting oneself and others from harm. Upholding honesty, integrity, and compassion in all dealings is the best way to weaken the influence of mischief makers and create a society based on trust and righteousness. The warning against mischief makers is not only about avoiding those who cause harm, but also about ensuring that one does not become like them. Every individual must examine their own actions and intentions, ensuring that they contribute to peace and unity rather than division and deceit. The temptation to engage in gossip, manipulation, or dishonest gain can be strong, but a sincere believer resists these urges and strives to follow the path of righteousness. By adhering to the teachings of the Qur'an and the guidance of the Prophet, one can protect themselves from the influence of mischief makers and work toward creating a just and harmonious society. Trust and honesty are fundamental values in Islam, forming the foundation of strong relationships, communities, and societies. When these values are compromised, the result is widespread corruption, betrayal, and instability. The Qur'an and the teachings of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, emphasize the severe consequences of dishonesty and warn against associating with those who cannot be trusted. A person who is untrustworthy does not only harm those around them, but also weakens the moral fabric of society, causing destruction that extends far beyond their immediate actions. The Qur'an explicitly commands believers to honor their trusts and to be truthful in all aspects of life. A breach of trust is considered a betrayal not only of people, but also of Allah. This is why dishonesty is often linked to hypocrisy, as both involve deception and a lack of sincerity. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, identified dishonesty as one of the key signs of a hypocrite. He stated that a hypocrite is one who, when they speak, they lie. When they promise, they break it. And when entrusted with something, they betray that trust. These behaviors are not just harmful on an individual level, but also create a ripple effect, leading to loss of faith in people, institutions, and systems. Dishonesty can take many forms. Some engage in outright lying, fabricating stories for personal gain or to escape accountability. Others engage in more subtle forms of deceit, such as exaggeration, withholding critical information, or manipulating the truth to serve their interests. Some break promises, failing to uphold commitments without any valid reason. In the business world, dishonesty manifests in fraud, deception in trade, and financial corruption. False advertising, overcharging, bribery, and unjust dealings exploit the innocent and cause financial harm to many. Islam strongly condemns such practices, urging believers to conduct themselves with fairness and integrity. One of the most severe consequences of dishonesty is the breakdown of trust. In any relationship, whether personal, professional, or communal, trust is the foundation that holds people together. When trust is broken, it is difficult to rebuild. A person who is known to be dishonest will struggle to find meaningful relationships and will be viewed with suspicion. Without trust, societies become fragmented and cooperation becomes nearly impossible. Marriages fail, friendships dissolve, and business partnerships collapse when honesty is absent. This is why Islam stresses the importance of fulfilling obligations and maintaining one's word. The impact of dishonesty is not limited to worldly consequences. It also has severe spiritual repercussions. A dishonest person distances themselves from Allah's mercy and loses the respect of others. The Qur'an describes how deception will ultimately lead to failure in both this life and the hereafter. Those who betray trust and engage in deceit may believe they are benefiting temporarily, but in reality, they are setting themselves up for loss. Their reputation is damaged, their relationships suffer, and ultimately, they will be held accountable before Allah. Even if one manages to deceive people, They cannot deceive the one who knows what is hidden in the hearts. Surrounding oneself with untrustworthy individuals is equally dangerous. Just as honesty and righteousness are contagious, so too are dishonesty and betrayal. The more time spent with those who manipulate and deceive, the more likely one is to adopt their ways. Islam advises believers to associate with those who uphold truthfulness and sincerity, as their influence will reinforce good character and strengthen faith. Seeking the company of honest and upright individuals ensures that one remains committed to ethical behavior and is less likely to be tempted by dishonesty. To protect oneself from the dangers of dishonesty, Islam encourages self-awareness and accountability. A believer must constantly reflect on their actions, ensuring that they remain truthful in speech and behavior. Making amends for past dishonesty, seeking forgiveness, and striving to regain trust are crucial steps toward personal growth. Islam also promotes transparency in dealings, encouraging open communication and clarity to avoid misunderstandings. By committing to honesty in all matters, one safeguards their soul, maintains the respect of others, and remains within the guidance of Allah. The Qur'an's warning against dishonesty is not merely a cautionary statement, but a command to uphold truthfulness as a way of life. A person who values honesty strengthens their character, gains the trust of others, and builds a legacy of righteousness. Honesty is not just about avoiding lies. It is about integrity, reliability, and a commitment to doing what is right, even when no one is watching. By choosing truth over deceit, a believer ensures that they are counted among those whom Allah loves and honors. In a world where deception often appears to bring success, the true victory lies in remaining steadfast in honesty, for that is the path that leads to both worldly peace and eternal reward. The Qur'an's guidance on the types of people to be cautious of is not meant to create division, but to protect believers from influences that can harm their faith, character, and relationships. The arrogant and prideful distance themselves from Allah through their inflated sense of self-importance, refusing to accept the truth and belittling others. Backbiters and gossipers spread negativity, tearing apart relationships and communities with their careless words. Hypocrites deceive both themselves and others, pretending to uphold righteousness while secretly working against it. Mischief makers thrive on corruption and disorder, creating conflict and injustice wherever they go. The untrustworthy and dishonest break promises, betray others, and undermine the foundation of trust that holds societies together. Each of these traits represents a serious moral and spiritual danger, not only for those who embody them, but also for those who associate with them. The people we surround ourselves with shape our thoughts, actions, and ultimately our destiny. By distancing ourselves from harmful influences, we preserve our integrity and strengthen our connection to Allah. At the same time, self-reflection is crucial, ensuring that we do not fall into these behaviors ourselves. The Qur'an's warnings serve as both a protection and a reminder of the values believers should strive for: humility, honesty, sincerity, and justice. By following this guidance, we build stronger relationships, foster unity, and create an environment where righteousness thrives. In the end, true success lies in adhering to the principles of faith, surrounding ourselves with goodness, and seeking Allah's pleasure in all that we do. Thank you for spending your time with Islamic Insights. I hope this discussion helped deepen your understanding and strengthened your connection to faith. If you found this video beneficial, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to stay updated with more inspiring content. Let's continue learning and growing together. May Allah guide us all on the path of righteousness. Until next time, take care and stay blessed.